Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another exciting tutorial. In this tutorial we create a photo gallery website using the framework that we've been creating so far. So if you haven't seen the MVC framework we created from scratch, there's a link in the description to that playlist. So once you're done with that, you can come back here and we can create a website like this. So this is a photo gallery website. As you can see here, there's a main menu drop down here which shows profile. You can also log out if you want. The home page, photos page, you can also search for a particular photo like that. Anything is searchable here. And then you can click to upload a photo like this. So you can put anything, put a title there. And let me add a photo that I haven't added yet to this list. Let's see here. Let's put this one. Okay, I'm gonna say work or something, and let's hit save. And there we go, there's the photo. And if you click on this, you see the full-sized version. You can click edit to change the photo if you want, or you can click delete to delete that photo. And of course, on the full-size version, you can click to see who posted that photo and their profile and stuff. So like I mentioned, we're going to use the MVC framework that we've been creating so far to see how all this ties up together and how we can create something useful. We're going to also use the command line tool that we created to see how well it works and what we can do with that as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so let's get started. So the first thing we're gonna do is let's open our browser and we're going to navigate to the location of our project. In this case, it's localhost /tutorials /photos/ like this. So I've created a folder in my htdocs folder. Now the first thing you have to do is make sure that Apache and MySQL are turned on your server. So Apache, MySQL there, switch both those on. Now, if you have a different server, just make sure your database and server are working. But it must be an Apache server, otherwise our HT access file will not work. Okay, so in there, I'm going to go to the folder, which is this folder right here. It's inside czamp htdocs tutorials /photos. Now, you don't have to put these two folders, tutorials and photos. You can just put one folder inside htdocs folder, just the photos tutorial, the photos folder, sorry, without the tutorials one. This is just for me to organize my data. And then in here, I have this framework that I've downloaded. The link is in the description, as mentioned. So let's extract. I'm just going to say extract here, the files. Okay, so it's going to extract those files. I don't need this zip file anymore, so I can delete that because I've extracted it. So as you can see, we have our app folder, our public folder, and the command line tool known as Thunder in this case. All right, so we're ready to begin. So here I'm going to navigate in my thing here. I'm going to refresh this and navigate to my public directory. So that gives me, oh, and I get a warning immediately saying data is undefined. So I must have left something out when creating my my MVC thing here. So let's do this. Let me come back to this folder. And inside tutorials, I want to drag and drop my folder into my text editor. So it doesn't matter what text editor you're using, could be Notepad++, VS Code, that's up to you. It doesn't matter. So what I want to do is go to my view inside app, inside views, and there's the home view. actually controllers. Let's go to controllers, home controller, and the reason it says data is undefined is because there's data over here. So what we're supposed to do is just say data, something like title is equal to home, like that, so that at least the data variable exists before we try to pass it in here. So what you do is make this a permanent change in your base MVC folder, all right, so that you don't have to deal with this every time you make a new copy. We'll deal with it in a later update. That way the error is gone. All right, so to start with, I want us to use Bootstrap in here so that we speed things along, because there's no reason to be dealing with CSS when we don't have to. So I'm going to look for my Bootstrap folder. Now, in order to download Bootstrap, you have to go to the getbootstrap.com website, like that. Now, Bootstrap is just a CSS file. That's really all it is, just a CSS file. And so if you don't want to use Bootstrap, it's okay. You can just create your own pages, your own CSS files, and that is fine as well. So once you get here, just click on the read the installation docs. There's a download button here. Just click there to download Bootstrap. So the current version is 5.3.0, but you can use any version that you are acquainted with. It doesn't really matter. So I'm just trying to find my Bootstrap version here, and there it is. So I'm going to copy that and bring it to my folder. So the folder here that I'm looking for is inside C, htdocs, tutorials, and photos. All right. So all our CSS files go inside the assets folder there. So what I will do is paste. For now, I'm just going to paste it in the public folder so I can just incorporate my CSS files and stuff. So I'll go inside Bootstrap. In here, the only thing we need is the folders, I guess, the CSS. There's a lot of files here, but you're not going to need all of these. Really, it's just the Bootstrap CSS, min.css, and the JavaScript version. This is all you really need. So what I'll do is I'll copy this CSS and JS, copy that, go to my public folder, assets, and just replace in here. So it's going to do a replace because there are the files are not being replaced really in here, so it will be fine. So everything else you can delete unless you're using these other files, but we are not going to use these files. So I'm just going to select all of these just to keep things a little bit cleaner. I'm going to delete most of these. So I'll select all of this, and I'm just going to leave the bootstrap.min.css map and the bootstrap.css. That's all I'm leaving here. Let me see, is there a bundle.css? Is there a... Nah, I think we don't need the rest of these, so I'm just gonna click delete. So what I'm left with is the map files and the css.min, the bootstrap.min.css and the actual Bootstrap, though we'll be using the min version anyway. So the same thing here. Here I'm going to leave only the bootstrap.js and the map, and the min.js and the map. I may need to use the JS bundle and its map there, so I'm going to leave that. The rest of these I will delete. All right, now you don't have to do the deleting. You can just leave those files if you want. This is fine. Okay, so now we have Bootstrap and we're ready to go. Now, to know that we have Bootstrap, we have to go to our home view file here. And as you can see, the text is in a very specific format. If I come back here and refresh, you'll see the font here. So if I include my Bootstrap file. Let me just type HTML like that and put the base HTML stuff. And here I know that I have the title in the controller file there, so I can use the title instead, or I can use the app name in here like that. That's the application name. And then here I will also put my title, because I know there will be a title there, and put the thing like so, the pipe. And then come to the body here. In fact, not the body, but let's use a link. So the link here is going to be root. Everything must start with root, every link. And then we do /assets /css /bootstrap.min.css. Alright, so we've included our CSS file there. Now, if you're going to be using menus like Bootstrap menus and stuff, you will also need the Bootstrap JavaScript file. So I'm going to put a script file here, script tags, and then change that to source. Now, for the appearance, the JS file is not needed. It's just needed when you have those drop-down menus and stuff. That's the only time it works. So you can ignore it if you don't want it. So assets /js /bootstrap.min.js, like that. Okay, so we should see our text change if Bootstrap is working as intended. It seems it's not, because we haven't seen a change. What is going on here? There should be something wrong. Okay, there is that there that I missed. Okay, so our Bootstrap file isn't doing its thing. Okay, that's great. Now, always when you have these issues, what you do is you go to the view page source, okay, and then you look here to see the actual path that you're being given. And then if you click on it, it shows you view file not found. It means that's the wrong link to your CSS or JavaScript file. And if we look closely here, you're going to see that it goes to the MVC folder instead. Okay, so that is our problem. So to fix that problem, of course, for every project you make, you must configure it. So let's go to the core config. Now, of course, we have a different folder here where we have our stuff, and the link to that folder is this one here. So I'm just going to copy the actual link to our page, come to the config file, and it should replace this here. So I'm going to paste that, and this is our actual link. Remove the slash at the end, make sure. And then when you upload it to your live server, this is the part you're going to change to your website name. Okay, so here the website name will be my photos. We'll leave that tagline there, and then we'll need a database here, and it's going to be called my photos _db. Okay, good. So far, so good. And also don't forget that when you go to the when you put your website online and you have done everything and it's working fine, you should change this debug mode to false. That way you don't display errors anyhow. And there we go. We have our font has changed, which means Bootstrap is working as intended. Okay, this is awesomeness. So with Bootstrap on here, we can go ahead and look at the documentation, and Bootstrap has a lot of examples already set to get you going immediately. So you can look at the navigation bars here. Let's go for nav bar here and see what they have to provide. So there are examples, like this is one example navigation bar right here. So that seems to look great. So you can look for the one that you like. The example is right there, and then use it. Now for me, I want a search bar here. Where is this? I want this one with a drop down and a search bar. So I'm just going to click copy to the clipboard. and then go to my home view here and just paste that. So this is our navigation bar from Bootstrap. So let me tab it nicely like so. Okay, cool. So let's see how that looks like. So this is our home page now. There's a search bar here. There's some links over here. Now if I click on this, it doesn't drop down, right? It doesn't show that drop down thingy, which means our JavaScript file is probably not working fine. So let's check that out. Let me click on this, and there is our JavaScript file. So I guess if it's not working, let's use the bundle version instead. I think it's the one that contains things for the drop down. Let me just check it out here. bootstrap.bundle.js. Okay, so before the mean there's a .bundle and then .js. So let's try that version there. Refresh and let's click there, and now our drop down is actually showing. So that's great. Now this has nothing to do with PHP, of course. This is Bootstrap documentation. You should read the documentation to figure things out. And if you don't want to deal with Bootstrap, that's fine. Just type your own CSS in here, no problem. All right, so now with this part, what we have is a navigation, which is like the header part of our document, which is all of this up to the top. So what I want to do is cut all of this information up to the top, and I'm going to right click here on my views folder and create a new folder. In here I'm going to change it to includes. That way all those non-full pages I can put in the include section. So new file in there and paste that. So I paste everything here like so, and then hit save. Now the title may not always show on the page. We may not have this variable all the time. So to avoid errors, just put 2 question marks there and put an empty string, or instead of an empty string, sorry, I clicked save there, you can put a default title there. Maybe it could be the word title itself or unknown, since maybe you can say 404 not found or something. I don't know. It's up to you. Or you can put unknown like that. So let's save this guy as header.view.php. So all view files should always remember to put the .view there, just like the provided examples. All right, great. Now in the home page here, we need to include that file. So instead of using the require like this, we're going to use what we already have in our class, which is this view. So this is exactly the same function we are using in the home controller to actually display the home page. So it's as good as just copying that guy and bringing it over here like so. But let's put that in PHP tags and then close those tags over like that. We're going to include that data so that in case there's any data we need in the header, it will go along with it. Then I'm going to duplicate this guy over here, and instead of home, this is going to be header, and this one is going to be footer like so. Now remember that they're inside the views folder, they're inside an includes folder there. So I will have to include that and say includes slash like so. And then this now will go in the right place. So I'm going to remove that. We don't need this. I'm going to cut this part and save that as a footer. So I'm going to paste that like so as a footer document. So here for a better footer, I'm going to actually, let me just save this for now. That's just like the header. We're going to have footer.view.php like that. So if we go back to the home page, let's see home view. This is what we have left now. And then we have this area to put whatever we want. So since this is the home page, we may want to make it look like a home page. Okay, so I'm going to come back here and refresh, and this is what we have. So instead of navbar there, let's put a title in the header. So I'm going to go to my header here, and there's home over here, but on navbar, this one is where my website title will be. So I'm just going to do this app name like that. Okay, and then the link, of course, will have root like that, since it's just the root path itself. So I'm going to copy that and put it on the home page as well. Same thing there. Then there's a link over here. This link will be photos like that, and we'll put a link to /photos like so. And then we have a drop down version here. So if you want to put stuff there, that would be great. But what we're going to use this for is say user, and that will be the username of whoever is logged in at the time. All right. Now there's a way to figure out if a person is logged in or not, and that's using the session variable. Now, instead of having to put variables where we need them down here, let's just create some PHP tags over here for a second. Now, normally what you would do is you wouldn't do any processing, major processing here. We just want to do those things within the controller. But the problem is there are things that the header should always have, like it should be able to check if a user is logged in or not. So I would rather much just have them here for the moment. So I'm going to do, what do I do here? Actually, wait a second. Let me go to, I've been so many projects, I forget what models are in here. Okay, so there is a session model. And if we check for the session model, it's inside the core namespace. Okay, so that's great. Good to remember. So we're just going to name it sesh like that and say is equal to new. And I'm going to do core like that and session like so. Okay, so there we go. So we can create a question here to know whether this person is logged in or not before we display this part right there. So this is for when a user is logged in. So I'm going to do PHP and say if like that sesh is logged in. Now I usually forget what the function name for this is, but we will see. If it doesn't cause any errors, then we know it's okay. So PHP and if at the bottom there like so. All right, now we need an else statement here, because if the user is not logged in, we should show the login and sign up buttons more likely. So the disabled version we don't need, so I'm going to remove that. So I'm going to grab this photos link, come down here to the else statement over here. And what I'm going to do now is put two of these. So I'm going to duplicate this one time. Let's do that. Duplicate. And this one is login, and this one is sign up. Like that. Okay, so of course here we just go to the login, and here we just go to the sign up. And then if a user is actually signed or logged in, that on the drop down menu here we're going to have the logout button like that, logout. And of course we're going to use our root over here like that, /logout. Simple as that. Then here, this one will go to the user's profile, and this other one will go to, I don't know in this case. If the user is an admin, it can go to the admin area like so. So in this case, I want the root path over here. So I'm going to copy these two and paste, paste like that, and one will be equal to profile, the other one will be equal to admin. So we should be able to know if this user is an admin or not. So how do we check if the user is an admin? Let me go to the session variable here, and let's see if there's a function for that. So if I go down, there's the auth, there's the logout, there's is logged in, so that's the correct one. but we don't have one that checks to see if the user is an admin or not, because this can vary wildly from application to application on how you actually determine this. So in our case, we have the user function right there. Now the user function gets us any variable from the user row of the currently logged in user. So this is very, very handy. So what we're going to do here to know that the person is an admin, because I know when I create my database or my table, I'm just going to put a row column, a column called row, to give my user a row. So here I'm going to say if sesh like that, and we use the user function like that and grab a specific column called row. If that column is equal to admin like that, then we know this one is an admin. So then we can put our end if here like that right then. So that's how we know if somebody is an admin. Very good. So far so good. Then we have a search here. Let's put a placeholder here. We just say search photos, since this is a photo thingy anyway. The form here is going to be it's going to need an action so that we know where to take it, because this page is going to be, this header is going to be active on every page. So when somebody searches, we take them to a very specific page. So there I'm going to do root like that to put the root as the action page, and then we're going to have a search page like that. We should put a method as well, though it's not important because by default the method is get. So but we're just going to put it there anyway. Very, very good. Now let's refresh, and this is what we get. Okay, so my photos, home, photos, user, and there we go. So profile and log out. This seems to suggest that I'm logged in, so maybe from a previous tutorial or something. So let me just hit the logout button like that, and then I'm going to try and go back to the home page. So the home page is just public/ like so. And then now that I'm logged out, you can see that I have the login and sign up links over there, which is awesomeness. Now I need this header to be showing up everywhere I move to. So let's see here. If I put the nav bar, and if you want a dark version of the nav bar, you can just say nav bar dark, I think. I'm not sure about these classes. You can check Bootstrap itself. Okay, I think, yeah, if you do navbar dark and you say bg dark like that for the background color to change, then it's going to give us a darker version of things. Wait a minute, navbar bg body. Okay, so I think this one is actually overriding this bg dark. So let's try that and see, and there we go. So we have the dark version of our website. I kind of like that a little better. Okay, so now that we have this, and of course, since this is Bootstrap, this is responsive navigation. So if I go like this, this is what's left, and if I click, this is what I get here. Very nice. So very responsive as well. All right, so now let's get into the meat of the matter here. I want us to have an image over here that shows us the main thingy here. Now with Bootstrap, you can actually put a carousel here. Let's see there. Something that is an image slider where you can click and images slide for the heading there. Now I don't want to get into that, so it's a matter of copying and pasting there those images, though we can actually just do that. Let's not be lazy. So what I'm going to do is, let's grab this first one right here. So I'm going to click right over there and say copy to clipboard, and I'm going to go to the includes folder and say new file and paste this content, save that. I'm going to save this as the hero So you can call this anything you want. I'm calling it hero there. Then I'll need like 3 images over here to put there. And in order to include it in the home view, I just need to duplicate this and then put hero over there because that's the name. And now if I open this and refresh, we won't see anything because there are no images. So what I'm going to do is try and find some images somewhere. I should have some images on my computer here, and I really don't know. Let me go to podcast here and let's see. Okay, so it doesn't really matter the images I'm getting here. It's just for the I just want some images to use. So I'm going to copy those images, and all the images will be inside assets, images in there, and I'll open that folder and paste. So I don't want these crazy names, so what I'm going to do is rename them to image 1. This one will be image 2, and this one will be image 3, and of course image 4. I don't think we need image 4 though, but let's go to the hero view here, and where we have the source over here, that's where I want us to put the root path / assets / images / image1.jpg. That's the first image there. At least we should see something now, and there it is. So that's image number 1. Now what we can do is we can limit how much of the image we can see here. So I'm just gonna paste on both of these, like so, on all of these, and just put image 2 here and image 3 there. Now also here, instead of putting a class, let's put a style over here. So I'm going to put styles like so, and in the style here I'm going to do limit the height. Okay, so the height here is going to be limited to 400 pixels like that. So let me refresh, and as you can see now it is squashed like this, but at least there are images over here. Now we don't want this kind of squashing, so what I'm going to do is tell it that object fit as a cover like that, and that will solve the problem. It's going to act like it has cropped the image to a specific value, but 400 doesn't seem good, so let's try 550 so we see more of the photo, and there it is. So 550, let's move over. Okay, that's great. Now if you look at the resolutions of these images, let's go here, let's see. If I go to the images, you see the resolutions are 1000 by 700, so they're not really the same size that we are displaying there, so this is a waste of space. So what I'm going to do is right click and let's inspect to see what's happening. How much of it are we showing? Let me lower this to wait a minute, responsive design mode. Wait, how did I move it to dock to the bottom? Okay, there we go. So what I want is to see what the actual values are of this image. So it's 1380 by 776, but the display version, wait a minute, you know, there was a while back with CSS you could see exactly, oh there it is. So this section here is 1590 by 550. Okay, so I think we can reduce these images to something like 1519 or 1520 by 550. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do. 1500 1520 by 550. So we do have the capability to do that. So what I'm going to do here is within this, I will instantiate my image class. So I'm going to do image like that. I'm just going to say image is equal to new core image. I don't know if the image class is in the core. Let me just click there and see it's actually inside the model namespace. So here instead of core, we put model like that. Okay, so now that we have this image class, we can use it to get a thumbnail, because we do have, if we go to our image thingy here, if we scroll down here, we'll see that we have a get thumbnail function over here that's we're gonna do, and we can specify the width and the height so that we get exactly the values we want. So the link to that image is right here. All right, so let's see here, get thumbnail. Interesting. Now if I go to my functions page, there's a function called get image, right? Where is get image? Let's see. Does it exist? There we go. So get image adds the root path for us here, and then gives us a replacement or a placeholder if the image does not exist. So what I'm going to do is put this inside a bracket and then open my PHP tags over here, ready to echo like that. And I'm going to close that there. Okay, so opened there. What's happening? Something is happening. Okay, this is supposed to be a string in there, like so. Now I don't want to include the root path here. I want this to be automatic. So what I'm going to do is remove that and do this instead. Okay. Then what I'll do is I'll use the get thumbnail, the image get thumbnail function like that. So we're gonna get a thumbnail version of this, and let's give it the dimensions we prefer. So 1500 and 550 pixels as the height, like so. And then within this now, because this will return a link to the file itself without the root path, so to get our root path, we're going to use get image like that, and it's going to add a root path to that. So let's see if we can get number 1 to display quite right. And there we go. We have a newer version of the image, and this image now is exactly, if I hover on this one, is exactly 1500 by 550 pixels. All right, hopefully that's a smaller image. So let's go back to images and see. So this one is 126 KB and this one is 114. Okay, so not really a huge reduction, but it is there. So it's just good to keep in this habit of cropping your images when you are displaying them, so that you put them exactly where you want. Wait a minute, let's put 2 on this one and 3 on this one. So we will need to change the get thumbnail function a little bit, because if you have different thumbnails for the same image, different thumbnail sizes, it doesn't crop very well. I forgot to do that in our tutorial, but this is fine now. And there we go. Okay, so some of these images are not showing properly. They're not going all the way to the end, so maybe not very good idea to crop them like this. Or were they like this from the beginning? Okay, so it is cropping them just fine. Or is it? Nah, it doesn't look like it's cropping them just fine, because the width is not good enough. So what I'm gonna do is, let me delete these widths, these thumbnail versions. So what I'm gonna do is, let's just put 1000 here as the width. So let's try that. Let's see how that will look. Okay, so that's much better. Yeah, there's enough meat to get what we want. Okay, great. So let's see the reduction in here. Yeah, I think the aspect ratio is better kept like that. So there's a huge reduction now from 126 KB to 80 KB on this image, from 142 to 87, from 80 to 51. So good for us there. We are using our thumbnails. Very good. Now down here, I want a list of images that will be uploaded, right? When we upload, we're going to display them there. And then there'll be a photos page here, but the view file isn't there yet. And also, I want an upload photo part in the header. So I'm going to go to the header here, and that's what I want to do. I just want to duplicate the photos link over here like that. And this one is going to say upload photo like that. So this will lead to the upload page. Okay, so we need to create the upload page, but we need users to be able to sign up and log in first before we can do that. So far we don't have a database yet, and for the rest of the stuff we do need a database. So let's create a database now. So I'm going to go to my browser here and type localhost/phpMyAdmin like so. All right, and then create a new database. Just click new, and that one is my photos_db, and hit the create button. Okay, so now that we've created that, we need to make a few migration files to handle this situation. So we need a migration file. We need a migration file. We need a user model, which we already have, which is good. We also need a photo because every let's see here. So we have these migration files here, which we don't need. So I'm just going to delete those two. So what we need is every table should have a model. So whenever we create tables, we need to create a model as well. So you can see the models that are here, and there are no migration files now. So let's use our command line 2 to make those things. So I'm going to go to my public folder, above the public folder actually, where there's the Thunder file here, and I'm going to open my command line here, and I need to navigate to the same folder over here. So I'm going to do cd change directory and paste that directory, clear the screen with CLS. Now what I'm going to do is say PHP Thunder to activate my command line 2. And what I want to do is say make or something. If I just press enter here, nothing will happen. It's going to bring me the help files here to show me what I can do. So the thing that I want to use is a generator. I want to make a controller. I want to make a model. I want to make a migration file. And this is great. Okay, so let's try and let's do PHP Thunder, and I want to do the make controller. Okay, so make controller, and what's the controller name is photos. Okay, so I want to make one photos. Great. So if I now go to my controllers, you see that there's a photos controller there, which is awesomeness. Okay, and just like that, I want to create another controller. So I'm just going to repeat myself and change that to upload controller created. Now, since I have photos that I want to be uploading and I need a photos table, so I'm going to make a wait a minute. I'm going to make a model that will handle that. So let's repeat ourselves. PHP Thunder make a model. So what model name are we going to make? This one is going to be photo. Now a model, we usually don't use plural, we just use singular to make the model. As you can see here, when we're making a controller, we were following the actual name, like what they're going to type in the link in the URL for them to get to that location. And I want them to type photos and then the upload /upload, for example, /photos to get there. So that's why controllers are like that. But the model is singular like this. So photo, think of one photo. So model was created successfully. So here we can check to see we do have a photo model with all this content inside. And yeah, we can leave that be for now. And then we need a few migration files. So here I'm going to do PHP Thunder migrate. It's make migration, because you can see it right there. Okay, so make migration. Actually, I should have provided more information here on what to add the arguments. Yes, so make migration, and we need a migration name. In this case, we are dealing with photos, right? So that's a photos table. So make migration photos, and migration files created with that name. Great. So here we're going to minimize the command line because we'll come back to it. And if you see now, we have one migration file here, which is awesomeness. Now I need another migration for the users table. So I'm just going to create a new migration. Now you can put multiple tables in one migration file, but I think it's just easier to keep track of things if you put them in separate tables, separate files, I mean. So make migration users. There we go. So we have users and we have photos. So there we go, 2 migration files. So now we just need to describe our tables, because the migration file is a description of your table. Okay, nothing more than that. So let's start with our users table. Actually, maybe let's go to the photos table. It's much easier to design. So let's do that. Right, so going in here, we have this thing, the migration thing. So the ID will remain as this because this is really the default. We can leave these columns date created, date updated, and primary key as ID. That's fine. And then we create the photos table. We don't need to insert any data, so I'm just going to remove this part right there, and yep, that should be all. So let's create a few new columns here. So I'm just going to duplicate this one, and for a photo, what we really need is just to know the file name and who created the photo. So here we're going to put the user ID, user underscore ID. There's going to be an int as well. Not null. We can give it a default value and just say default 0, and then not null. That's fine. It shouldn't be auto increment at any point, but it should be a key. So this is going to be add key like that, and the key will be user ID like that. Okay, great. So just the key and the primary key there. And then the second one is the path to the image itself. So I'm going to duplicate that and just say image, or you can call it file if you want, but that's up to you. This one will be a variable character like that, and we want this long enough to hold a URL. So this can be 1024 or 1024 in length or 2048. It's really up to you what you want here. The default value could be an empty string, but we can just say no like that to allow it to save empties. Okay, so we have the image file, the date when it was created, and who created it. I think this is all the information we need for our photos gallery, and that's it. So that's our migration file here. And then let's go to the user's version of things. So now if we look at the user model, since it comes with the framework, at least it has a few columns that we should consider. So there's username, email, and password. So those I think we should probably add. And here there's not less than 8 characters. Okay, so that works really well. So let's make sure we add at least these 3. So we also need a user row here. So I'm gonna put row like that. All right. So the login unique column is email. That's great. At least we know there. Primary key, table users. That's great. And row, I don't know if we need to validate that at all. It should just be alpha. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this part here, Ctrl-Shift-D, and put row on this, on update validation rules. So I'm going to put row here, and it's required, and it should be alphanumeric. I think that's good enough. So let me duplicate this as well. So let's put row, and again here required alpha. Now here's a list of the rules that I included, just in case you've forgotten. And also you can add your own rules just by going to the model.php file here and adding your own, because this is the list of where the rules are, and here they are one by one. So you can add your own rules. Okay, so as long as you watch the tutorial, you know how to do that. Also, we have a login function and a sign up function ready to go, so which is great actually. Now in the sign up function here, we need to include all the other columns that are not included yet. Here we have the date and date created, right? Wait, there's date created and wait a minute. Okay, so we should add those babies here, date and wait a minute. What's the difference between date and date created? Extra columns here. Okay, so there's date created, there's also date updated, I think I may have missed that. Okay, great. And then here we have the login function. So you can put whatever you want the user to be redirected to after they log in. Also, if you want, you can use, based on the user row, you can redirect them differently. So here you can put a switch statement, and then you just go ahead and check inside data to see, inside row, the row here, to see what their row is, and then redirect them appropriately. So in this case, you can put like a switch statement over here, and then you try and check the row like that, and then say if the row is admin like this here, we're going to redirect them to the admin page. So here we'll put admin, and then you put check for another case. In here you say if they're just a user, and then they will go to the home page, in this case like so. And then default, if none of those is working, we just redirect to the home page like that. Okay, so that's one thing to consider. I'll leave it there just so you can have it there. And here also, when we are signing up, we are encrypting the password here, which is great. But let's put a row as well. So when we are starting, every user should be considered just a user and not admin. So the row is forced here to say the row is user, like that. All right, so those are the columns we need here. So we need to reflect this in our migration file. So we have email, username, password, and row. So let's go ahead in here. So date created and updated, good. Let me duplicate here. Let's put a username over here. So there'll be username, and this one is var car. Username could be maybe 30 characters. So not null, but let's just leave it there. We can't put auto increment in here. And then duplicate. This one will be email, right? Email can go up to 100. Let's look at password. Password should go up to 255. What else? User, email, password. Let me check back in the user model. Email, username, role, and password. So we forgot the role. So I'm going to duplicate maybe after email here. Oh no. Okay, so I'm going to say role. The role here really depends on, these are short things, so maybe 10 characters. It's up to you what kind of rows you expect to have, so you can put enough space here, maybe 20 characters, just to be sure there. And also here on the insert data. Now to insert data here, it's better to insert at least one admin, right? One row for admin. So we put the date created and updated, and then we put also the email, so that we create this table with some data. So the email is something like, let's try email@email.com. And then let's duplicate this, of course. We put the username. Let me change that to username. And the username could be admin as well. And then email, and then a password. So password like that. Now the password here will be the text password itself. Now the thing is, we can't put it like this. We have to encrypt it. So we're going to use the password hash function like that. So we put our string in there, which is password itself. So cut that. Let's put it here. Then we use the password default algorithm there. So that's great. So we have our username, email, and password. One more thing. What is that? The user row. That will be admin. So let's do admin like that. Then date created, date updated. Great. Let's insert in users. Okay, this seems great. Here, this is where we delete. So if you create more than one table here, you must put true like this. Let's say I created more than one table in this function. I can put both here so that when I try to delete them, I delete them at once. Alrighty. Now, if we were to create a second table, all you have to do is duplicate this like that, and then put new column types, and then put the name of the table there. It's as simple as that. All right, so I'm going to undo that. And now our migration files are ready, the users table and the photos table. So the advantage of doing things this way is that any time in the future, if we want to recreate our tables, we just have to run these migrations, and that's it. So if I come back here now, we have these migration file names here, but in case we didn't, we'll just say PHP Thunder and then say list migrations. And then it's going to list the migration files that we have so that I can run them. So I'm going to select the first one here and then do PHP Thunder and then migrate like that and put the file name. So I'm going to start with the tables, the photos table. So if I go to where the database is, as you can see, the database My Photos has no tables whatsoever. So if I run now this thing here, oh boy, I get a fatal error. So these are things we have to keep in mind. Code to undefined method, add key. Okay, so this is my bad. I think add key does not exist. I don't know what I created instead of this. So we can investigate. In case you forget what's in there, we can investigate properly. So what I'm going to do is go to my, there should be a Thunder folder somewhere here. There we go. And there's a migration class. So let's see, how do we add keys? What is the function itself? So there's add data, add table. Oh my God, I think I forgot. I think I forgot to make this function. This is crazy. Okay, anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to duplicate one of these that says unique key or primary key, any of these, and duplicate that. So this is inside the migration file here in Thunder. Sorry about this because I completely forgot that we didn't put this function in there. So what I'm going to do is remove that unique part so that we have add key, and then here it's just going to be keys with a small letter like so. That way it's actually adding to this right there. Okay, great. And then let's see if it's accounted for here as well, and fair enough, it is. So things are going to work this time. Now let me go back here and see if something was created. I'm going to click on that and nothing was created, so that's great. So all we have to do is repeat ourselves. Let me just clear the screen. I'm going to do PHP, say Thunder, and say list migrations. Very good. So again, we see our migration files. I'm going to copy that, and let's do this again. PHP Thunder, and let's see, migrate, space, and there we go. Table photos created successfully. Let's repeat ourselves. Let's say PHP Thunder, and let's migrate again. This time we're migrating the users table. So I'm going to copy that and let's paste that. Enter. Okay, so we get some weird errors here. Table users created, right? Now it's in the column not found, a non-column row in the field list. Okay, so where is this complaining? I can't really know. A non-column row. Let's look at the stack trace. So it starts from with the on line 38 in the migrations file. So let's check that out. So in the migration file, the user's migration on line 38, which is right here. So it's about inserting data. So it doesn't know row. So we didn't create row here. Yes, we did. So why is it giving me problems? What is going on here? This is insane. Okay. In any case, what we can do here is go ahead and check what was created. So my photos DB, let me click on it. Wait a minute. It actually didn't work. None of the migrations migrated. Okay, let me look at the... Let me make sure that we are connecting to the right database in the first place. So let's go to core and config. So my photos DB, let me see that. My photos DB. Okay, good. So something weird is going on. This is not supposed to happen. We had tested this and it worked out fine previously. So what is going on? The photos thing didn't even run either. So create table photos did not work. Okay, so let's repeat ourselves. I'm going to do CLS. Let's start from there. PHP Thunder list migrations. This is wasting our time. We shouldn't be fixing these problems. We should have fixed these by now. So let's see again. PHP Thunder migrate. And let's do that migration. So here it says everything went on successfully, but if I look here, I don't see any tables. So that's a problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and see what is wrong with what is going on. So let's go to the migration inside Thunder here, migration part. And there's a part that deals with the migrate. Actually, not that. Wait. There's create table. Yeah, right here where we're creating the table. This is the part. I want to see what kind of query I have in the end. So this is how you can always know when you don't get an error and you want to know what's going on with the query. Just echo it, right? So I'm going to say echo the query like that. So let me repeat myself. I'm going to do that and press enter. And there it is. The query has been echoed. So let me just copy the entire query and I'm going to do this and monitor it and see what is wrong with it. Now, sometimes it can be hard for you to know what's wrong with a query. So all you have to do is go to the same database, go to the SQL tab and paste it here and let it run. So once you try to run it, you're going to get an error that is appropriate. So let me try and run it. and I didn't get any error and it ran as intended. So this is weird. Okay, so this should have run here just fine, right? Table created successfully. So what is going on? This is crazy. It could be that we are targeting a very different database altogether. So my photos. So what I'm going to do here, instead of echoing the query as well, oh wait, the query itself tells me where create table if not exists, photos. All right. Okay, what I want is to echo the DB name. Yeah, because DB name is like a constant, so we can echo it from anywhere, right? So let me repeat myself. Oh no, what am I doing? Fatal error, constant, undefined constant, thunder, DB name. Okay, so constants are also what's this? It seems constants are also namespace dependent. So let me try that by putting a slash there. Let's see if that changes anything. Undefined constant DB name. What is going on here? This is not good. Okay, this doesn't matter here. I just wanted to know what's what. Okay, but we do run the query now, don't we? So why are things not going as planned? Okay, let me try a rollback here. Give me a second. Since that worked, our table was created. Let me try PHP Thunder migrate rollback. And let's roll back this very one here, the photos thingy, the photos file. Oops, should leave a space there. Okay, so it says the table was removed, but let's verify that. Okay, so the table is still there even though it says the table was removed. So clearly there's something going on here that that isn't doing us justice. So I suspect we are dealing with the wrong table. The wrong database, sorry. I think that's what's happening here. So let me go back to my config. Where are we? Config. Ah, that's why. Look at that. So you see, I put my table name here, but I forgot to put it on the local host version. So this is why we've been having this problem. So, you know, silly things like this can make you pull your hair to kingdom come and start wondering what's going on. Okay, so let me close all files for now, just to take a breather here. And let's clear the screen here one more time. Okay, so let's start again. So here what I'm going to do is say PHP Thunder and then migrate. Actually, let me just list the migrations. So I was right to suspect that we are dealing with a different database. And to know such things, it takes experience. So that's why you have to make lots and lots of projects until you're good enough. So PHP Thunder migrate. So let's migrate. No, not that, man. Let's copy this right there. And let's replace migrate. Boom. Okay, let's also do another migration. Let me just repeat myself. And then this time I will copy the other file, paste and migrate. Okay, so things seem to have worked well now that we selected the correct database. So I'm going to click here and there we go. So we have photos table. That's great. We have the, let me go back here. We have the users table. And as you can see, it has at least one record with a password and a row as admin and email, at least so that you are able to log in as one of those. So now if I go to my login page, this is what I see, but this is not ideal. So let's go to our home page and copy these guys there. Then let's go to our login view and paste those guys there. Let's just move this one to the end like that. Okay, let's save that. Let's do the same for the sign up. Let's paste this content and let's move this down like so. Okay, so let's see the difference now is that we have a header file. Let me go to login. Oh, this is a problem. We are putting the hero image there. We're not supposed to, so I'll remove that hero image. We don't need that. We do this, refresh, and there we go. So that's our login view and that's our sign up view. Very good. So let me just put something here. I'll just leave that login like so. And what I would do is I'm going to put a div. I want this to be in the center. So I'm going to put some Bootstrap classes here. The first one is what do I do here? The first one will be column and column MD 4 like that. So to reduce the column, let's say border like this so that I can see a border around it. This one, Bootstrap has 12 columns. So the reason I'm putting this here is that I'm telling it to only get 4 columns, to only cover 4 columns here. And then on top of that, I want, so it's column 4, but I'm putting MD because I want when it gets to the medium screen size, then it would go to the maximum value instead. So I'm just putting that for responsiveness. So also what I'm going to do is just say BG light and then put a shadow on there so that we can see where the div is ending and beginning. Okay, so that's for the login, I think. So let me click on the login and there we go. So we have something like this, which is good. Then I want to put a margin around this, which is of size 4. I think the maximum is 4 or 5, I'm not sure. Let me put some padding around as well to 4 like that. So there we go. There we go. Let's put some gap over 3 there for the controls that we're going to put in here. So within this thing, I'm going to put classes for the input, for example, as well. This one, I'm going to do form control like that. Let me remove that bracket over there to make it look more bootstrappy. So form control, if I removed that closing thing there. So let me copy that and put it on the input here as well. And on the button here, I'm going to put a class and put BTN and BTN primary. That's the blue color. So there we go. And let's refresh. Okay, so it's looking much more pronounced, I guess. Do I have some break tags here? Let me remove these break tags. We don't need them anymore. Like that. Oops. Okay, so that doesn't work very well for our margins, but it's fine. I thought the G3 here would work. Maybe let me put this on the form itself. So class G3. Let's see if that works when I do that. Nah. Yeah, too easy, right? So what I'm gonna do is on these guys, I'm gonna put margin on the y-axis of 2. Or maybe 3. I think 3 is usually a good number. I'm going to do the same thing here so that they leave margins around each other like so. Now I want this in the center, so I'm going to do margin on the x-axis to auto, which is margin left and margin top on auto, I think, something like that. So there we have our login page, right? Very good. Now you can put a logo image here if you want, so that it looks much neater. That's up to you. So log in, great. Wrong email or password there. So there it shows an error for the password or for the email. So what I'm going to do with these two guys is I'm going to put a small tag like so, and then put a class name there and say text danger, which makes the text red. And then I'm going to go to the end of each one of these by pressing the end key and then close that small tag. So there we go. And if I click now, it looks more like an error. Okay, wrong email or password. Very good. Let's go to the sign up. So sign up should look pretty much the same like this. And so let's make it happen. So looking at what we've done here, pretty straightforward. So I'm going to grab these guys here, put a class and put form control and put margin like that. Okay, same thing here. I'm going to put a class and put button like that, and then button primary as well, my3. And then of course on this guy here, where is this, these errors here, I'm going to put the small tag but put a class and text danger, and then go to the end by pressing the end key, go back a couple and close that small thingy. And then what we're going to do is remove all the break tags from here like so. And this doesn't look too good, so which means we messed up somewhere, and that somewhere is right here. We shouldn't have that. Wait a minute, this in particular. So I'm gonna, I think on the last one that's warranted. Let's do this. Boom. Okay, so let's see what's going on this sign up. Boom, there we go. So now all I need from there is this div that covers this part. So I'm gonna do sign up like that, put that div here and close that div over here like so. Okie dokie. Now if I refresh, there we go. So at least we have the sign up login page as needed. So let's try and log in since we already have our login credentials. And this is the email at email.com and then password like that. Great. So it took us to the admin page, which means things did work out well. It's just that the admin page does not exist. But if we come back to our public here, we will see here. Also, there's a user drop down, which means we logged in, but we want to see our name there in the header. Nice, 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 nice. So let's go to the includes header right there. So this is the part where we display the thing, the user name here. So instead of this, I want to see the actual name. Now remember that this is how we get a specific column from the user. So all I'm gonna do is this. I'm gonna grab that like so and paste it here. Boom. Now instead of an if statement, this whole part, we're gonna echo this out, and instead of row, we want to get username like that. We just want to echo that point blank like so. Maybe we can put a hi there as well. Say hi and then that. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh and there it says hi admin. That's how you know you are logged in. If I log out, that doesn't show anymore until I log in again like this. And it takes me to the annoying admin page since it doesn't exist. But there we go. At least now we can go to our profile page, the admin page, or log out or upload photo. None of these pages exist, so we need to create them. But at least we have our home page over here, which is nice. So since now we can log in, the next thing to do is upload a photo. That way we can have some photos to display, right? Right. But let's test the sign up page as well. So I'm going to go to log out and go to sign up. I'm going to sign up as Mary in here, and I'm going to put my password as password. here I'm going to say mary@email.com, and I'm going to sign up. Now, if it takes me here, that's the login page. Now, it doesn't show me any information whatsoever if anything happened when I signed up, right? But we can change that. So the way we can change that is to use the the message function. Now, where is that? If I go to the functions.php and I look for the message function, it exists right here. So let's use it. So we're going to have a message over here if one exists. So I'm going to put some PHP tags, and here I'm going to say if message, just to know this is a function. So we're going to do this. So if a message exists over here, let's close that. If message, good. Let's do some. So I'm going to do PHP and if, and if, like that. Okay, great. Now in here, we will put a div like that, and let's put some classes. So Bootstrap is good for that. So let's first of all let's put alert and say alert danger, so that we get the red version of the alert. And then I'm going to do text center to center the text. And then what we put in here, we're going to put the actual message. If there's a message, let's echo it here. So over there, if there's a message, what I'm going to do is it's going to be like this: PHP echo message and close. But then we want to delete the message. So here I'm going to put an empty string and put true at the end there to delete the message. Very nice. Now, if I go to my table and browse, you see now we have two records, right? Now, I don't want this record. Also, there's no date and date created and updated and no, which is not great. So what I'm going to do is delete this row, and then I'm going to go to SQL so that I change back the auto increment. So I'm going to say auto table users, and then we'll say auto increment is equal to 2. Okay, so go. Yay, it's done. Okay, so back to browse. There we go, so that the next thing will be there. So let's check out these problems we have. If I go through my as we know, the user PHP model is the one that has the login and the sign up thingy. So there's date updated and date created here. So these guys should have information, right? And then insert. This looks about right. No. Row user. Okay, so the reason these guys are not being updated is because of here. It's easy to forget that here are the allowed columns, right? So we should include those guys. If we don't, they get omitted like that. Okay, so whatever column you don't put here never gets updated because it's no longer an allowed column. Okay, so that's where the problem was coming from. So that's one problem solved. What else did we want to solve? I've forgotten now. Okay, so we had those missing there. This was fine. Okay, so the next thing is we want a message when we finish. Before we redirect here, let's add a message here and say message. And the message will be your account, so that at least the user knows, was created. Please log in to continue. Maybe too long a message, but hey, that's that. And just by that, we will get our message when we want it. So this one says unknown in the thing because the login page doesn't have a title. So it says unknown in the tab there. But if we go to our login controller, we can easily give it a title by putting it in the data variable and saying title like that, and then say login. Okay, And if we do that, we can do the same for the sign up page as well, and do this and say sign up. Okay, so now if you check, you're gonna notice that it says, and it doesn't. Why is this? This is the login page, right? Login, title is equal to login. Okay, so let's go to the home one that actually shows. Yeah, title is home, right? Let's go login. Data title is login. Oh, I didn't save, did I? And let's go to the sign up. Title is sign up. It should work. So why is it not working? Okay, it's working now. If I go to sign up, it works as well. So let's try and sign up again, right? Mary, and let's put password, and let's do mary@email.com, and let's sign up. Great, your account was created. Please log in to continue. Actually, this should be a green version, but if you want the green message here, what you can do is change the Bootstrap alert instead of danger to success, like that, and then you'll be seeing a green version. All right, so here, let's go log in. Now, if I log in as Mary, I want to try that. So mary@email.com, and then password. Now, these guys shouldn't be visible like this. So this is a blunder here. Let me press. But at least you see it says, hi, Mary. If I log out, then log out. So let's fix that. On the login page, this input over here for password should not be type text. It should be type password. So just by changing the type to password, we can hide our password. Remember to remove that. All right, so now I can refresh and log in as admin. There we go. So I've logged in as admin, took me to the admin page, and there we go. So things are working. Log in, sign up. Now we need to upload a photo. Yep.